kids growing up?
Mm. She was just our mother. She was always there.
In what way?
And she cooked for us. She sewed for us. She had babies so I could take care of them. And she taught me how to be a housekeeper and take care of babies and children.
Is there anything that, what did she look like growing up?
What did she look like? She was about, I'd say about 5 feet, 4.5 inches. And she was pretty stocky because she never had time to lose her weight after having babies. She had 13 babies and a set of twins between that. So she's smaller now than she ever was because she hasn't had a baby for about 40 some years.
Is there anything that sticks out about her growing up or to this point? Because she is still alive. How old is she now?
91.
Is there anything that sort of sticks out in your mind about her? A moment or anything?
Oh, she's got a great determination. And she's stubborn. But it has saved her life. She's not lived to be 91 years old. And she's still got a good memory.
Do you think that you've acquired, what have you learned from your mother? Or what has she taught you?
I don't think I could even tell you the start of it. I probably don't know everything myself, what she's taught me. So
I'll ask you the same question again that I did of your father. Just one word or a few words or a sentence that would describe your mother. What would they be?
she's the most. I think she's been probably the most modest person, and I believe she's been honest all of her life. And like I said, she's always had a great determination, and
Let's talk about your siblings. You just mentioned that your mom had 13 children. How many are alive? How many boys and girls were there, and how many are there alive now?
there was 8 boys and 5 girls.
And are most of them alive today, or?
All except 3. 2 girls and 1 boy
What?
is gone.
Could you tell us the names of them?
Matthew, he was the oldest child of the bunch. And Irene and Dolores.
What were the names of your other brother and sister?
I'll start from the top, the oldest one down, okay? Herbert, he was next to the oldest. Bernice, and Herman and Thurman, they were twins. And then me, Pauline, then Irene. Henry Jr., Paul, and James Robert, Bobby, we call him Bobby, Johnny, and Eva May.
Is there any stories about your brothers and sisters that you'd like to share, growing up or even to this point today? There's something that there's a particular story that stands out about any of them, or all of you doing something together? Yeah, maybe the time that you all did together as a family.
When we were kids, we used to, and like in the summertime, we used to get with our cousins And with us and all of our cousins together, there was probably 12 or 13 or 14 kids. And we would all gather at my grandmother's house, and we would jump rope, go down the creek and go swimming, and ramble through the woods and the hills and swing on grapevines. And we had a lot of fun when we were kids. Yeah, there's a lot of memories.
What was it like to grow up on a farm in Kentucky with all your brothers and sisters?
That's all I knew, so I guess it was okay. It was hard work for everyone,
What kind
but
of
we had freedom.
what kind of work?
For me, wow.
I mean, in your family, tell us some of the things that you had to do on the farm.
I had to cook. I took care of babies. I cleaned house. I drawed water out of a well and carried it to the fireplace outside for wash water. That wasn't just every once in a while. It was like a continuous thing. And I started doing that when I was probably about 11 years old, until I was 16 when I got married and left home. And I took care of my grandmother, slept with her because she was helpless, and she always called for me and no one else.
So would it be fair to say that you were sort of the caretaker of the family?
I'd say so.
How did it make you feel growing up?
At that time,
And at that time and now, looking back today, we'll start with you back at that time.
during that time, I just thought it was a normal way of life, but yet I knew it was hard on me, and I wanted to get away from it. I always hoped how soon I grew up so I could leave or something and be on my own.
And what about today? Looking back.
Looking back today, I would never let my children do the things that I did. It's too hard on a child. But everyone had to pitch in back then because we lived on a farm, and that was years ago, and everyone had to help out.
What about for yourself? If you had to do it all over again, would you go back to the way you grew up as a child, or what would you change?
I don't know how to answer that question. I would have liked to have been able to be a teenager, which I never had a chance to do.
Why is that?
I just never had a chance to get out with the other kids and do the things that they did because I always had to be busy working.
Where did the rest of your siblings and the brothers and sisters in the same predicament as you, not able to?
No, I was the seventh child, and there was two girls older than me, and one of them died when she was a baby. That was Dolores. And the one next to her got married and left home when she was 15, and she was like 4 years older than me, so that left me right there to do all of everybody's work because I was the oldest girl. And I had a sister younger than me. So I took the lead and I left her. I just never made it a point to have her help me because I thought she was too slow. And she was kind of sickly because she did have a bad heart and we didn't know it. And I always did her work that she was supposed to do because it seems like she was weak and she wanted to sleep a lot. And so that's why I had so much to do. I was actually the only girl that was able to do anything in the family. And the boys, they had their jobs, out on the farm and so on and so forth. And in the wintertime, they had to cut wood for stove, for heat and cooking, and they had to milk the cows, and they still had their work to do. But I had the heavy load because the time of life that I was born, that I was born in. And like I said, there was 13 of us kids, and I was the 7th child, right in the middle of all of them. And I had big responsibility. And my mother was, she was either in the hospital having appendix taken out, hysterectomy, or something like that, or having babies. So that left me at home to take care of my grandmother and the little babies, little children, and keep house and all that. Now this was between like 11 and 16 years old. I started this.
So then, that's a good share of your your teenager years. Were you pretty depressed then, or just you didn't know any other way of life because that's pretty much what you've done for so long? How did it make you feel?
I don't remember being depressed. I held my own pretty good. Like I said, it seems like I took the lead at home and with my schoolmates and so on. I got along good with my schoolmates, and we played. The boys and girls played the games together, like ball, and I even played football with them.
What was your school like? Was it one-room schoolhouse?
Mm-hmm.
What was tell us a little bit about that. What was it like?
It was just a one-room schoolhouse, probably between 16, 20, 25 students. And the fourth graders sat on the first grade to the fourth grade sat on one side of the schoolroom, and the other grades sat on the other side. And I wanted to be a teacher real bad. And I had it made up in my mind that I was going to, how I was going to teach the children, how I was going to teach math to them and all this. And I never got a chance to go to high school. But I got my GED when I was 42.
So what caused you not being able to go to high school? Because of the family responsibility?
Right. And the weather and transportation conditions.
Why don't we talk about your? I think we've touched a lot on your childhood pretty much. Your teenager years were pretty much the first parts were taking care of the family, from what you told me. What about sort of the later parts? When did you start dating, and did you get your driver's license? Tell us a little about that kind of stuff.
Wow. My whole life story. My children's father, Ernest, I guess he was probably the first guy that I dated, actually.
And how did you
I was 14 years old. Mm-hmm.
How did you meet?
At church.
Tell us a little bit about your church for a minute.
Well, it actually wasn't my church.
Oh, wasn't it?
No. It was actually just a place to go at the time. And back then, there was only one place to go as far as girls was concerned, and that was to church. And so that's how we met. And he also was friends with my brother, Herman, and he came down to my home down to my house with my brother and stayed a week or so.
So with you two, was it